This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the DailyFX Forum.
Hello and welcome to the DailyFX Forum Highlights video for December 17th. Just scrolling through the forums tonight here on the DailyFX Power Course Instructor and Trading Tips thread. Here's a post by Tom about the dollar CAD, and this is a great use of the forum. Personally, I wasn't really looking at the dollar CAD at all, but now actually looking at Tom's post here, I'll read a little bit of it. A look at the daily chart of the dollar CAD shows a market that does not seem to want to move up or down. While this is not unusual during the long holiday season, the light volume can also lead to a volatile breakout, and we could see here some support and resistance lines, and it's sort of they're converging, so we might look as prices get into the apex of this sort of triangle formation. It's a loose triangle, if you will, for a breakout either on the upside or the downside. And obviously with the euro selling off, the dollar is strengthening. That could indicate an eventual upside breakout in the dollar CAD, but as Tom mentioned in his post, anything can and will happen. And then here's Liberty 32. Tom, I've been watching that one also. The pound yen has a similar weekly chart looking to make a move. How do you post charts? And then Tom writes back actually showing you how to post charts. And if you're at home right now, I certainly recommend listening at the end of this video, registering for the DailyFX forums, coming on, posting some charts, and then getting feedback on those from either course instructors or actually from other forum members as well. And then Liberty 32 was able to go ahead and post a chart, and here we have a similar chart to the dollar CAD, but this is a weekly chart on the pound yen showing converging support and resistance lines. And again, the same logic would apply. As prices get closer and closer to the apex, the chances of a violent breakout increase. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the DailyFX forums. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the DailyFX forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com. And usually there on the upper right hand corner, I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections, and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But personally, I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now, these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education, such as DailyFX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders, and then for more advanced traders. And I just want to go ahead, personally, the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads, just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart, but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to, shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things, with the right mind in terms of, I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and DailyFX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on how to use the forum and how different traders can use it, in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there. You'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register, the formal registration page, and that will bring up here. And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now, the most difficult aspect of registration for the DailyFX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now, I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now, there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would suggest opting in for these emails if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the DailyFX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.